Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you guys doing? Forrest, Jerry, Joe. It's amazing. We're only 4 people. That feels like it's an empty room this week. Last week it was a was a lot of people on. Quick round. How are you guys doing?
I'm
Doing good.
We're rich again.
Yes. Yeah, I'm looking at my
you're
block
muted,
clock over
Robin.
there, and I'm only getting 1,505 sats per USD is what it looks like right now on my block clock. So, feeling rich in net worth as we kind of begin to move up here, but you get less sats, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword in that way.
I want to start off by today with some housekeeping. We will do this year. We do this year. Next week we will do the live stream only on this channel. So we'll do this channel, BTC Mastermind. It's like at BTC Mastermind. You can just go there, YouTube/at BTC Mastermind, and this will be the only place next week where we'll actually do the live stream. So this week it's still on everyone's stream. It's on Jerry Wan's, Forrest, Chores. But next week, it will just be the BTC Mastermind channel. So if you want to make sure you catch next week's episode or live stream as well, make sure to subscribe there and do that. I haven't even subscribed with my own channel. I have to fix that now. So make sure to head over there.
Robin, I just want to point out one thing here. The description on the BTC Mastermind, it says BTC be the chance, should be the change.
Be the chance.
That must be Austrian.
That must be an Austrian thinking in English. I love that. Be the chance. I mean, it has a nice ring to it. Be the chance. But
True.
Be the change is better.
It also works.
So
good looking chat so far. Yeah. So just head over to the new channel. Take a minute now, because you're not going to remember next Tuesday. You're going to be looking for it on Jerry's channel or Forrest or Robin's. So just hop over there, subscribe, turn the notification on. You'll be notified when we go live. And Bob's your uncle. We'll be all in one chat next week. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I've been patiently waiting for that to happen, because the chat's always buzzing, but it's all dispersed. There's people talking about one thing over here, a comment over here. We can bring them up on screen, but it's just better when everybody's together.
Yeah, and there's also people talking to each other in the chats, and I think it's sometimes confusing if we bring something up because people are talking in the chat about it, and then other people are like, "What the hell are they talking about?" Because I haven't seen the context of the live chat. So I think it's just like a normal thing to do. We should have tried it so much earlier. That was a good idea. Joe had that idea today. So thank you so much for that. What are you guys thinking about the price action? Are we a little bit happier this week? 10% richer, 10% smarter?
I think Bitcoin has been really boring for the last little while, and I don't think that this is spectacularly exciting. I mean, this is our topic for a reason. I think it is kind of a little exciting that we're seeing some price movement here, but we're kind of still just trading within these bands, like these really kind of low compressed bands. People can think seasonality of everybody's on vacation in summer, nobody cares. Some wind was taken out of our sails with the AI trade and the debasement trade, and Bitcoin is done, right? Bear market until you can just wait till October, right? The lows will be in October. We'll just wait till then. It sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and all of that. And really, we've just seen low amounts of liquidity, low amounts of volume, price just kind of staying sideways. And I think that when that happens, people get lulled into this sense of that's going to be what it is, right? And I think that's actually the exact opposite, because the low liquidity means that the low volume means that essentially, if there's any sense of, hey, this thing, let's sell this thing or let's buy this thing by a larger sect of money, this thing moves rapidly. And so like the analogy that people use is, when there's not much price action, that's a compression of the spring, and the spring will move either direction. And that's sort of the thing that you can kind of guess at or bet at or whatever, right? But That is what happens with Bitcoin. Is it just kind of trades within these ranges that are boring, and then it moves violently in one direction. And I think that's going to be fun when we see that happen again.
I just realized Bitcoin price moved up, and we talked I think last week about that with Lou, that the YouTube money hasn't showed up. I think it comes out like on the 21st officially, but for me it always lands in the bank account at like the 22nd or 23rd. So how are you guys? How are you doing, Lou? Has the YouTube money showed up before
Oh, he's smiling. He's smiling today.
Nah, you know, sometimes like it sends me an email that you got paid, or like Google AdSense will send you the email, but it never gets there till like later in the day. So I wait till the next day. Now, if it's not there the next day, I'm super worried. But like I told you, right? Like Bitcoin is already, you know, like it's like from 58, which it was probably about 3 weeks ago. And now today you get paid and Bitcoin's already up like, you know, 12% or whatever, 66,000. But it is what it is. I hope everybody's good though. Jor, Robin, Forrest, Jerry. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Good to see you.
Lou,
Lou.
I don't know if you've seen it, but I've tried to put you in the thumbnail. I tried to edit one of your images to get you on the thumbnail, and Gemini told me you're too famous. I cannot edit your picture.
Oh, that you got to use Grok or you got to use ChatGPT. So I use both because to make my thumbnail, sometimes it gives me guidelines that we can't do this because it's against our guidelines or whatever, because people might be too famous or whatever. Like I try to do CNN sometimes, like for a thumbnail, and it gives me, no, you can't use CNN. So I go to Grok. So yeah, I would say a different AI, it's different software for sure, because I'll help you with that. I'm sorry. I was kind of late. Somebody, very close person of mine passed away yesterday. So I've been trying to, you know, get together a lot of the information. He was my baseball coach. So devastating loss. But yeah, man, talking about Bitcoin is good. It makes me feel better. So we're here.
That's
Sorry to hear
crazy.
that, Lou. Sorry to hear that, bro.
Yeah. Life is short, man. 63 years old, but it just puts it in perspective. Life, it's all about perspective. So, but yeah, we're gonna be flying out to New York probably sometime this week or next week to, you know, funeral arrangements and stuff like that. But yeah, ChatGPT, bro. ChatGPT is better.
I think those moments are always also good to appreciate that time is the only thing way more valuable than anything that we're doing, like Bitcoin or like YouTube or live streaming or like whatever it is. Especially like Bitcoiners have this like, oh, I want to save as many sats as possible, want to save as many Bitcoin as possible, and that's okay, like the accumulation of it. But then we have to realize time is the only thing more rare, more. You can't make it back. You can make more Bitcoin. You can start a business. You can get a better job. Whatever. You can make more sats. But time, when it's gone, it's gone. It's hard to make it back. At least we're not there yet, where medicine might be further with like Brian Johnson. But that's a whole nother can of worms. So I'll not open that one. But yeah, like time is the only thing more rare and more valuable than Bitcoin, I would say.
To add to that, I will say this, right? Yesterday, when I found out, I was going through pictures and all of these things, and I was like, you know, you start to question, right? Because Bitcoin, like we spoke about, I think it was last week, it's more than just money, right? Like it gives you perspective. It helps you understand life a lot more. And so what I'm laying there, and I'm like, you know, you got all this sadness, and you're trying to figure out what am I doing this for? Like what am I chasing? What am I trying to get out of life? Because, you know, he was and this goes for anybody, because I'm not sure if you guys have lost people. This is the first close person I've lost in my life, and so I'm like, well, what am I doing? And I think that, to Robin's point, it's time. That's what I'm chasing. I'm chasing, you know, time. I'm chasing, trying to, and I hope this makes sense, but I'm trying to gain more time. So I'm trying to, we're all trying to work hard to that way one day we're able to be able to spend more time. And so imagine that you spend all this time and you're doing all these things in life, and you're getting money out of it, and money is supposed to help you. It's supposed to be the vehicle where you spend it or you use it, so that way you could spend more time with your family. And then but you can't though, right? Because when you get the money, 5 years later, that the time gets cut short because that money becomes worth less. So it's crazy. I think that's what Bitcoin has done, because I'm like in the bed thinking about sadness, and I'm thinking about, what it is that I'm searching for in this life. And I'm like, I think I'm doing the right thing, because I'm storing all my time, energy, and everything that I'm giving out to this world into something that another person or a government or the Federal Reserve can't print more of. And so life is all about perspective. What are we doing this for? I would say that Bitcoin puts it there. It's unfortunately, this is the last thing I'll say. I don't want to hold it up too long, but there's a lot of people that unfortunately are probably not going to make it to a Bitcoin being $1 million price USD wise. That is unfortunate to me, because I think that a lot of people throughout the 17-year journey that Bitcoin has been on, and a lot of people they hop on in different phases. Some people, they hop on just to make some money, bull market this, bull market that, bear market. But unfortunately, there won't be a lot of people that will make it to a USD price of 1 million. And that shit makes me sad.
It's a very interesting topic. Like I love thinking about Bitcoin as time. Gigi's done a whole series on how the time chain itself represents a new version of time. But I think what Lou's saying there is like fiat steals your time, your life, your energy. And I don't think people really understand that. I think if people did understand that, they'd be a lot more pissed off at what's happening in the governments, at the central banks. But Bitcoin itself, it allows you to store, like, what is money? Money is an abstract version of your time and energy. That's what it is. It's a representation of that. And so when people can print more of that same thing that you're storing your time and energy in, it takes away from yours. So what Bitcoin does is it stores that in a perfect battery that nobody can take, nobody can debase. You send a Bitcoin to cold storage today, you open that up in 100 years from now, it'll still say 100 million sats. There's no fees, there's no property taxes. Nobody has the ability to create more units and debase yours. And so it buys you time. And I think the other thing that people miss with Bitcoin is that it saves you actual time in life. Because if you're not in Bitcoin right now, you're chasing the next AI stock or trying to figure out what countries are doing with their interest rates and trying to pay attention to all that shit. And it's taking your own time and energy from your life. So Bitcoin, you just take what you provide, you put that into Bitcoin form, and it's as simple as that. You get back time in the future, but you also get time back today, because you don't have to worry about all that other shit of being a professional investor or paying somebody else to do it and outsourcing it to them. So I just think that that's a super underrated aspect of Bitcoin and very applicable to the conversation today. It's a good way to think about it.
I often think about the optionality of Bitcoin that Bitcoin give you, because I made that, I think we talked about with that in detail with Rashad on my channel one time, where I'm asking him, like, what is retirement? And we went into this whole side tangent of what do you actually, when people are getting like, I want to retire, what do they actually want? Because I think only very few or maybe nobody really wants to just do nothing. I think because if you're just like sitting on your ass all day long, and maybe it's fun for like 2 weeks, maybe it's fun for a month, maybe it's even fun for a whole year, just like sit around and do nothing. But I think you degrade your body, you degrade your soul, you degrade your mind, and you're basically getting ready to die, I think. And so like people always want to do something. And so what do they actually mean by, I want to retire on Bitcoin, I want to get X amount of Bitcoin and that might, I think people just want to have optionality to say goodbye to the job, to say like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to go there, I don't want to do this. Like this is, if you think about time, if you got a job and you have to work there, and if you don't show up, you don't get paid, and you just like want to do something fun, or you have to go to the funeral, or you just like don't feel like it today. With Bitcoin, if you have enough in the stack and you have optionality, you have that sense of like, I can also not do this and prioritize something else. So I think it's very important that we save and the value of saving money is completely lost because people just gamble, and people got pushed out of the risk curve and do all that shit and not save money. And then when I call Bitcoin savings, people ridicule me because it's so volatile. Even some Bitcoiners attack me lately because, oh, you cannot call it savings because it's volatile. I'm like, I still call it saving. You can call it whatever you want. For me, that's my savings account. So it's very important, I think, that we have savings and we can rely on something.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead, Forrest.
No, Jerry, it's all you, man.
Thanks, man. Well said, guys. I'm, I guess I'm the elder statesman here. I was born 1975, so I'm a completely different generation than you guys.
Same year as Satoshi.
Yeah, I'm a couple of months older than him too. So my birthday's January, but I've seen a lot of people come and go. I know this is a big one for you, Lou. And again, I'm sorry to hear that about your coach, man. That's a big one. But it's crazy when you think about the people that were in your life and everything. And every time I go and visit, both my grandparents are gone, and I'm not trying to being sad and all that stuff, but your life, it's crazy. I study history about the great men and all these things, and then the one thing that always sticks out to me is when you look at somebody's tombstone and you see the year they were born, the year they die, and then that dash in between. And that dash is somebody's whole life. And it's what are you going to do with that dash? And with Bitcoin, yes, it does give us time, and all you guys are correct on that. But us as people that talk for a living and are doing whether we know it or not, we are in a revolution against the central bankers and the Fed and all that stuff. I believe in, people laugh at me when I say, one day they're going to build statues of you because you're stacking Bitcoin for your family or whatever. But guys like us and people that are in the Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin gives you just a totally different aspect of what you're going to do with that dash in your life. And if Bitcoin does what it's supposed to do, people are going to look back at what you guys are doing today and say, wow, your life really meant something. I was watching something the other day about Thomas Jefferson's, great times 6 grandkids, and they're still talking about them because what he did 200, almost 300 years ago. So again, just remember, guys, I know it's tough right now and the price is this and that, but just remember when you look at your loved ones, you look at that dash, their whole life, think about what your dash is and what you're going to do with your life.
Yeah, and I was going to go off on a little bit of what Robin was saying, where he considers Bitcoin as savings, and I think that that's the way I think about it as well. And I was listening to somebody talk about the situation in South Korea, because there's sort of a bit of a market speculation bubble going on with Samsung and SK Hynix and sort of the chip manufacturers, or basically the technology stocks that are going to benefit from hyperscaling, purchasing, and AI build out in America. And the reason that those companies are experiencing such high growth is because the unaffordability of real estate in South Korea for the youth. So instead of and it's sort of cultural to get a home, have a family. This is your wealth. You're storing it in your real estate. And that's part of why the real estate went up so much and is so unaffordable. And so there's a huge push from the government, from influencers, from the finance people in that country to invest in the stock market instead. And they're not just investing in the stock market, but they're buying leveraged ETFs with borrowed money. And whenever there's any sort of correction or, wavering in the macroeconomics, the competitive business cycle, it's so competitive, right? And that's what differentiates Bitcoin to me, and why it's savings is there is no competition. There is nothing else like Bitcoin. The closest thing is this analog, historically relevant atom that we extract and refine, which is gold. And it's so different and very difficult to compare it. Whereas people, and again, this is sort of a microcosm to paint the picture more broadly, but in South Korea, they're thinking, well, my savings is leveraged gambling in a highly speculative environment, stock market environment. And it's so crazy that people are having to do that. Like that's how, like there's people that are doing that and they feel like they have to, because that's the only way to get ahead. That's the only way to replicate what their parents were able to do with real estate. They have to do this in this leveraged fashion in the stock market. And it's just another form of gambling, but it's seen as responsible to some degree, right? Obviously, further you go leveraged or whatever, maybe not. But even still, like it's just so crazy that we all have to, I mean, we all say this a lot, but you have to become a speculator, an investor, you know, a markets expert to just save your wealth, because the money is debasing at such a rate that you have to protect it somehow. And it's so criminal that you have to learn those skills and take those risks, instead of being able to focus on your craft, on your profession, on your passions, on providing value in the world. You have to also have a side hustle of being able to time the markets and invest in things. It's just crazy. And Bitcoin is just simplifies that. It just takes that equation out. This is sound money. There's no serious competitor. This is, you know, this is money. It's that simple.
That's the message, though. That's the Bitcoin message. I think to Forrest's point there, I was watching I don't know who was what is his name? I'm having a brain freeze.
Jerry loves freedom.
No, Andre Jick. He was making a video about Kospi, which is the South Korean stock market, or their stock market, if I'm not mistaken. And he was talking about the leveraging, over leveraging from all these college students. I mean, it was just one of the craziest stories that we're seeing. But back to what me and Jor and Jerry was talking about last week, which was real estate and just everything about, you know, maybe if something collapses, if something doesn't. But I think that message is the broken money message is what will get millions of people to Bitcoin, not just to make money, but to understand the problem. And I think that that's it. I think that was the great explanation. I will clip that. I'm going to try to clip that because that was such a great explanation as to what because we're always trying to figure out, you know, I think we always talk about, you know, what Bitcoiners could say that's better to connect with people. And I think there's a lot of people doing a lot of great things and jobs to connect. But I think, you know, basically letting people know, like, hey, there's a debasement trade that has been happening now for a very long time. People don't have that. I didn't have an idea. I didn't even know debasement trade. What does that mean? Well, it just means that the dollar is always being debased. It's going to continue to be debased. The more they print more of it, and people are always trying to find a way to beat that, right? They're trying to find a way to beat the inflation that's going to happen. And so they start investing in things that we shouldn't be investing in. Real estate. What do you mean real estate? Like we're putting all our equity or our money in this home, and we hope it goes up over time. And that's what the boomer generation is facing. It's like, we hate y'all. Like we don't hate. I don't hate the boomers, but it's just more like, yo, like these socialist communists, they're not born out of nowhere. They're born out of that. That's the problem. You can't afford anything. And, you know, the solution should be to incentivize and build more and not take. But I think that a lot of the problems that we are seeing are coming from that. And to the next point is, this talk about, oh, Bitcoin price is down. Bitcoin price is 66,000. In 2020, it was 3,000. 2017, it was like fucking 800. Like, like I think it's so we got into the market. You might have gotten in at 126 and you feel like shit, sure. But like to look at the Bitcoin and be down on it, I think that is so crazy to me. It's a $1.3 trillion asset, the fastest to ever get to $1 trillion. So if you don't think it's going to keep growing, or you don't think more people will catch up and put their money in there, or I just think that there's just like this misconception on again, all perspective.
Mm-hmm. I think that one thing I want to mention on this is that with the trade going on over there, and Bitcoin, to me, it gives everybody on the globe a fair shake. And I think what Lou's talking about there is like, yeah, you could have got in at 120. You might have got in at $500. So your first point into Bitcoin will be different. Every single person here bought Bitcoin at a different price. Everybody here has a different cost base of their Bitcoin. But that's not the point here. And a lot of people really believe that as this plays out, the people who are in Bitcoin today are the only beneficiaries of what's going to happen. But the reality is that Bitcoin is a solution to 8 billion people's problem, because everybody on this planet lives under a government that debases their time and energy daily. So Bitcoin is the solution to that. And it's whether you're in South Korea or Canada and your prime minister is bailing out condos here, or in the US, $40 trillion in debt, everybody benefits from Bitcoin. Every single person. There's nobody on this globe who won't benefit from Bitcoin.
Except the bankers, the central bankers.
Except the central bankers. But even they will too, because they'll probably get a nice severance package that they can throw into Bitcoin and actually preserve that energy that they've exerted there. So I think that that's important to keep in mind here. When you're having these conversations with family and friends, everybody kind of thinks that they're late and that the early Bitcoiners are going to be the only ones who benefit from this. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If you have the ability to take your time and energy, store it without anybody being able to debase it, you win. You benefit from that. And that is every single person on this planet. And that's why it's such a big thing. And it's amazing to me that more people aren't interested in Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Bitcoin is a perfect lever or measuring stick to a broken measuring stick. We measure things in dollars and stuff like that. You know, it's funny. We joked about the 21st for the YouTube pay, and I want to say this publicly. Lou gave me a shout out last month, and he had a flood of people coming to my channel. And my check was a little bigger. I got my check today, and I usually look at my check like, what can I eat with this check, right? Can I get a Burger King meal, or can I get a steak dinner, or what can I get? That's usually I'm always trying to get sats. I always got my QR code, and the YouTube money is just whatever. But Lou has actually changed my thoughts on that. He got me back to the basics, and because I had a influx of people come into my channel, I guess I must have created more value for people because Lou showed those people.
Hey, I saw you live the other day for the Andrew Tate arrest. I was like, oh, that's genius. That was genius. This guy is the game.
And listen, Lou, you know, behind the scenes has been giving me game. Now, mind you, I'm way older than Lou, but Lou's been doing this a lot longer than me. So I listen to every word he says because he's very knowledgeable, and he's doing very well with that. But a couple things I do on the 21st of the month is I get my check. I always go to Steak and Shake because we need to use Bitcoin as money. I believe Bitcoin is money. And also we always talk about the adoption and stuff. And again, either I'll get a double or single or triple, depends on the price. But I might get a triple today. So thank you, Lou, for that. I appreciate it. But on a serious note, yeah, and a milkshake. Yeah, I might get the Steak and Shake, the Bitcoin value meal, you know, with the big ass shake and the big ass, you know. But I always celebrate on the 21st because that's the YouTube money and all that. Long story short, we need to make money, Bitcoin money, not just saving it. We need to, you know, help it because again, adoption comes from quote unquote the price. That's the entry door. That's the fake adoption. But again, we need to learn what the system is, like you guys are talking about. But also just get out here and create more value. And Lou has sparked a fire in me to get to talk to more people, because the more people's problems you solve, the more quote unquote value you get, the more money you can get. And then you can take that money and put it into the real money. And that's Bitcoin. So thank you again, Lou. I appreciate you, bro.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. Keep being smart though, right? Like that. I think I can't teach that. And I think that what you did going live for, you know, some breaking news stuff, I think that's great, right? Because the breaking news is what gets people, you know, attention, and that's what people are looking for. You know, I got
that from you, man.
You know, you press refresh and Andrew Tate got arrested. What? We click, you know, like let me get some of this news. Let me see what's going on.
I just want to say one more thing on the retirement thing there, because I think that this is important for people to understand too, because Bitcoin really changed the dynamic of everything that we know. I think that we've talked about what Bitcoin has done for us in terms of just waking us up to the many of the issues in the world. And then we start figuring out, hey, Bitcoin can actually solve this. And I think the one thing that we're all seeing right now in this point in history is we're watching our mom and our dads or our brothers and sisters or ourselves, spend so much of our lives working. And then you get to that point when you're 60, 65 and you're ready to retire. And all of a sudden you realize that they printed 50% or 40% of the monetary supply in the last 5 years. And that's basically the equivalent of stealing 15 years of your life. Again, if that's what money is a representation of your time and energy, they basically just stole 15 years of your working career in the last 4 years by printing so much money. And so the traditional path for people is that they work for 50 years and then they get their pension. And the problem with that is that their pension's fixed. It's the same amount every year. It might go up like 1 or 2% if their government's feeling really generous that year, but it's a fixed amount. And so they're getting the same amount of money into their bank account every couple of weeks or every month, but they're seeing everything else around them go up and get more expensive. Their rent's going up, their groceries are going up, their utilities, everything around them is going up, all their costs, but they're getting paid the same. For all their years of service to the world, they were told that they would have this nice retirement. But what that really does, it's much deeper than that, because then they're forced to downgrade their life. Imagine being 70 years old, you spent your whole life working, and now all of a sudden you have to start downgrading your life because the amount that you're making isn't enough to keep up to your regular living standards. So what do? What do they have to do? They have to start eating less or eating worse foods. And so not only is your body, your mind deteriorating over time, but also your money is. And so that combination is what really ages people from 70 to 90, because everything in their life is deteriorating. Their food, their money, their mind, everything is. And so all of a sudden you have this different dynamic of Bitcoin where they can actually take that or take a portion of what they've contributed in their life, stick it into Bitcoin, and all of a sudden they're reverse aging. Their money's actually working for them. It's not only just protecting their purchasing power, but it's increasing over time. And so then they can upgrade their apartment. They can start eating healthier food, and it actually extends lifespans because they're able to fuel their body in a different way because of Bitcoin versus fiat. And we haven't really seen the implications of this yet, but I do expect this over the next decade, that more and more people will start doing this. And not only just like the food quality, but also just like the hope for the future. Just imagine being like 80 years old, you're forced to downsize everything and eat shittier food. Like, what kind of mindset are you in? Like, how are you feeling at that point? Versus Bitcoin, you're like, hey, I might actually have something to live for here for the next 10 or 15 years, because everything that I have is now appreciating just because I'm storing my money in a different way. And it's not that difficult. I mean, yeah, it takes a lot to learn how to use a cold card and how to secure it and manage your private keys, but anybody can get direct exposure to it through an ETF or through whatever. That's just to maintain your purchasing power and basically fuel yourself. You take it one step further and you get the cold card, the multi-sig, and all these different things. Then you're layering sovereignty on top of that. But anybody without any sort of knowledge can get access and price exposure to Bitcoin. And I think that is going to be a big trend with these baby boomers who actually want to live a little bit longer, who want to eat better. And instead of deteriorating, they're actually reverse aging simply because of Bitcoin. It's incredible.
And it's such an important point that you brought up. I think like if you have sound money and you like, just think from first principles. If you save, let's say $500 every single month and you save it in dollars, you will have after a certain amount of time, just like, I don't know, $10,000 maybe, if you like save for a long time. Do the same thing in Bitcoin over 5-10 years, you have a lot more. And so not only not going just in a specific maths, but just having more gives you more optionality, gives you the freedom to choose the better quality, the freedom to choose something that you actually like and want to get into. And so I think this is a very, very important point. I was just searching that because every time Bitcoin Andrew Tate comes up, this one thing comes up, and I just found it again. I can't stop thinking about it because Sky News shared that. Sorry to interrupt with the Andrew Tate again, but Sky News on live said that they just confiscated more than 21 million Bitcoin from Andrew Tate.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah, you remember that? When I saw that, I was like, that cannot be true. They
Classic.
didn't say that.
Is that we inform you that Andrew Tate has over 21 million Bitcoins. Like, what? There's only 21 million Bitcoin, and all 21 hasn't even been mined yet. These people are crazy. Misinformation, man. That is the peak.
And most people will never know that was wrong.
There's someone saying, on the next day of that news, saying like, that Andrew Tate had over 21 million Bitcoin. It's just insane for me. But honestly, it first of all shows that I mean, it shows so many different things, but the main thing for me, it shows that the news, because we always think about the news as this powerful entity, and it is very powerful because it shows us what it wants to show us. That's the main thing for me. Not only that they sometimes put in misinformation or like small bad represented stuff, or like just only shed light on one thing, but for me it's like, what are they showing? That's the main thing for me. I try to watch like 2-3 different news channels for like being up to date with Austrian politics, just because I think I should be knowing what Austria does on a legal ground. And it's so interesting, depending on what channel you're watching, it's a whole different news, but it's the same day. It's the same day for everyone. They had the same thing, but it's a whole different way to put the focus on. And so be very careful when you listen to the news, and don't trust them, even if they seem very trustworthy, because they can say a lot of shit, as we know.
Yeah, that's why we had to decentralize the news, right? We got the 3 main ones: ABC, NBC, CBS. I know what you're going to say, George. But that's why we got all these big guys like Lou and all these creative people that are outside the mainstream, and we're closing in on these people, man. Bitcoin decentralization is just like news and narrative, not disinformation.
To a certain degree, I mean, not Bitcoin news, but to a certain degree, we like the decentralized, I mean, I don't know what you call decentralized media, but I would, for example, call Joe Rogan part of decentralized media. And I don't know if Lou agrees with that, but I think a big part why Trump was so successful was because he went on every single podcast. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was on the I forgot his live stream, a big live stream he was on. He was on like so many podcasts on there. And I think this was a big part why he won, because he sat down with all the popular people for like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. And Kamala just didn't do that. She just
he sat with Theo Vaughn, which is huge. He sat with the Undertaker from the WWE. That was funny. He went on Fox News. But he did like
sit down with Aiden Ross too.
Sit down with Aiden Ross. That's good. That's crazy. You remember that? I'm trying to remember everything, but yeah. But compared to his adversaries politically, Kamala did not. Kamala did not go on Joe Rogan. She was invited. She did not go. So it's a good point. It's a good point actually to think that. And they're still doing that, by the way. Like they're still not going on Joe Rogan. Like,
yeah, I wonder why, Lou.
I mean, Bernie Sanders was on there, right?
Yeah, but Bernie is good, but Bernie's not running for president. Like what I'm saying is they will have to run for president, right? If you're running to be the president, if you're running to be the next Democratic leader, Bernie is good, but that's one out of how many, especially with the new Democratic Socialists. Why isn't AOC showing up there? Zoran should show up there. I think Zoran should. I think Zoran is the face of the Democrats right now. I think that is the best thing to ever happen to the Democratic Party. It might be the worst thing to ever happen to the Democratic Party. I think it's the best thing to happen to the Democratic Party.
Could you imagine AOC on Joe Rogan? That would be such a. I
It-
would
it-
watch it
It would,
100%.
it
That
would
would be so
change my
fun.
mind. It would change my mind on her.
It would never
Because-
happen.
It would never happen, but it would change my mind because it would say, "Oh, you actually believe what you say. Like you're actually willing to go into the lion's den and get questioned, or have a debate, even if it's a friendly debate. Most are. It's just they've taken this position of, can't talk to these people. These people are evil. These people are bad. These people are Hitler-esque. You got doggy in the background, huh?
But
yeah,
but
yeah, I
again,
didn't know he was
you-
back there. Sorry.
yeah, you got to. This is for the people that are like, oh, the Democrats and Republicans are saying. I'm not saying Republicans are good, but just ask yourself why, right? Why wouldn't Kamala Harris go on Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan is not a Republican, okay? He's not. He's like an old school blue dog Democrat. Why wouldn't AOC go on Joe Rogan? Why wouldn't these people go on middle ground things and not just MSNBC and all the left wing hacks?
Because they can't control the message. The narrative.
Exactly, because I tell people this all the time. Democrats are actors. They're fake as hell. Okay. And all they care about is the Democrat Party. They don't care about America. They don't care about your vote. They don't care about that. All they care about is creating an echo chamber within the liberal media. And that's how they do it. I'm not going to go on a side tangent with it, but this is why I say we got to get those people. If we want people to understand how the economy works, you have to get them off their plantation of socialism, Marxism, and communism. We have to get them off that and then say, okay, now that you know that you've been lied to, right? Let's show you how the real system works. I'm not telling you to vote for Trump. I'm not telling you to register for a Republican, but let's look at real monetary systems. I know, this crony capitalism.
I just don't think that. I agree with you on that, but I just don't think that that's where people are at, right? So like if Zoran and again, like Trump did a great job fueling people, the angry people, right? Everybody's angry about the system. Everybody's angry about being censored. Everybody's angry about what was happening and the flooding of letting anybody in the country not vetted politically. That's a great strategy. I'm gonna fix it. The issues is there's issues that come with that, right? So like there's things that he's doing that the left is now. And the left is very good at working from behind, right? They're very good at working from behind. When they lose, they come back and they win bigger because they're good at pointing the finger. And maybe Republicans are good at that too. But when they get into office, everything collapses all the fucking time, right? The 08 collapse literally happened under the Republicans. Now, that's not Republicans' fault. It's just broken money and over leveraged and, CDOs and everything that was happening with the housing market. But politically, the Democrats are very good at certain things, and they've captivated the young crowd. They just have. Like there was a guy, a streamer by the name of Hassan Piker, literally quoting Mao Zedong. He loves Mao. He said he was literally on camera saying that he respects Mao. He went to China and he was talking about Mao as a whole. And then you see the findings of, and this is the last thing I'll say on this, but you see the findings from Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, where he goes, okay, he put out a 100-page memo proving that a lot of these ideologies are coming from Cuba. They're coming from China, right? But does it matter? It doesn't, because back to Jerry's point, crony capitalism is not something, it's hard to defend. When I defend capitalism, I'm defending the natural state of the free market, but we don't really have that. So it's like I'm defending something that's non-existent, and they're trying to also do the same thing, which is socialism, communism, right? So it's tough. It's a tough place to be, because crony capitalism is the worst thing to ever happen to capitalism, right? But it's like, you can't it's hard for me to go at 29. I try to put, like, a lot of boomers think I'm crazy because of the way I view the world, but I'm 29. I have nothing but time. They look at the world like, well, we can't change none of this. We must, like, I'm all for a housing crash. Like, I think prices of houses should be, but you know how many people would be hurt by that? That's where a lot of people hurt by that. A lot of people will be hurt by boomers losing all the equity, or so it's a tough place, Jerry. I'm not gonna lie. Politically, I think that's where I'm divided, because it's like, yeah, I understand, but it's more like But I also understand where these people are coming from. Now, socialism and communism is not a great idea, but I think we've gotten so far into crony capitalism that we're gonna have to just, like, it's not up to me, but I think we're gonna get to the point where people, especially young people, are gonna want to see what it is, even if they don't know what it is, even if they don't know how many people were killed. But it's gotten to the point where people can't afford shit. They don't care. They don't care. When people die, people don't care who dies anymore. Have you noticed that? Like the empathy, like it is non-existent. When people die, when like these celebrities die or somebody dies, like Lindsey Graham died, right? And I'm not a fan of Lindsey Graham one bit. You want to talk about a warmonger that couldn't wait to see Iran get blown up? But like when you go to the comments, bro, people, I'm glad he's gone. Fuck, man, we are far off, because when I was growing up, when somebody died, it was like moments of silence. It was like, yo, this person died. We didn't agree with this person at all. But we just gotten to the point where I think that people, and this connects to Bitcoin in the biggest way, because I think that people's financial situations and the fact that they can't afford homes, or they're living paycheck to paycheck, and things are getting more expensive, and there's just nothing Trump can do to stop it, because that's not how it works. In order for Trump to stop this, and I promise you, this rant is gonna stop in 1 minute. Just hear me out here. The only way that Trump will win that crowd over is by crashing everything. Stop. Like he would have to literally or try to enforce himself on the Federal Reserve to be the most hawkish ever, to literally stop printing money. But like, what happens when you do that? What happens when you try to control inflation to that degree? The stock market stops going up. Things stop going because the money printing is gone. The money becomes shrinkage. Now that's actually a great thing to fix the problem, but it then ruins everything that the debasement trade has created. And so it just, all these problems to me are literally, they stem from 1971, 74, the 70s, Nixon, the shock. But it's just like, we're too far gone. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, it's like, in my lifetime, I don't know if any, like, there's nobody could save us. Bitcoin could, but that's not a body. That's just a software. And that's just like, it's something that Satoshi made. But that to me is the only way out of it. You just have to, you have to, everything has to crash. Everything has to restart. And we're never going to do that. And so we're cooked, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. We're fucked.
I disagree, Lou. I don't think we're fucked at all. I think that you're absolutely right. With everything that you said, they can't stop printing money now. They can't.
They can't.
Everything falls apart if they do. Everything. Nobody wants that. But what I think could happen to make the transition a little bit smoother.
You don't want that?
No, we don't want that. I don't want that.
Why? Okay. So this is my disagreement with why don't you want everything to crash? Because that's the way to fix it.
Doesn't have to. It's not going to. What's going to happen here, Lou, from my opinion anyways, is that Bitcoin is just going to continue repricing. People are going to think that Bitcoin's going up in dollar value, but that's not what's happening at all. It's fairly valuing what should be the accurate prices of things, because it is the only thing that we have that has a fixed amount of measuring units. So that's what's happening. If you looked at the houses in Bitcoin, you would say that the real estate has already collapsed. It's happening right now. Nobody has to come on TV, or nothing has to change at the Federal Reserve. It's just going to continue happening. And I think, again, the people who are here now are going to benefit from that, but nobody's going to really suffer. I wouldn't want to see a collapse. I don't want to. I don't
think that people are. I don't want people to suffer. But I think that what I'm saying is that, okay, the reason why I'm in Bitcoin is because I believe that this problem would not be solved. Like, the only way to solve it is sound money. Which is why I'm all in on Bitcoin. But what I'm saying is, if the government decided to fix the problem, right? If the Federal Reserve, the president, whoever decided to get together, it's like, we're going to stop printing, we're going to stop the debasement trade, and this can actually fix. We're going to try to fix the money. We're going to fix the world, right? That if they ever did decide to do that, it will crash everything. People will lose everything. Everything will be repriced in a way. But I think that would be what's necessary. Well, that's just my argument. It's not that I believe it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it did, we're all fucked regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's my argument. It's like if we did want to fix it, everybody's cooked. Like we're gonna have to it's done. Everything you've ever known is done until we come back from it. But that will never happen.
I think there are two sides to it. There's the one side to it where we measure things in Bitcoin, and I think as you guys agree, all like things are already collapsing in Bitcoin terms. If you look the last 10 to 15 years, real estate prices in Bitcoin, they're crashing, obviously, because Bitcoin is going up faster than real estate prices are going up.
We got a chart on that. Could we demonstrate that?
Oh yeah, like I can.
That's good.
I'll find it out later. Well, if you find one, I can put it up on the stage.
But it goes back to me and George's conversation, I think last week when we were talking about, how like I think one Bitcoin would be worth a house, probably
exactly
years.
Because everything.
Yeah, exactly. Everything begins to go down. I think the median household, the median house today is about probably like 400,000 or something like that, 300,000, 500,000,
right?
500. So imagine Bitcoin at 500. That means that the real estate market crashed to Bitcoin to the point where one Bitcoin is now, which I can't wait for that, by the way. That'd be awesome, bro. That'd be
no, but that's what's happening right now, Lou.
Yeah.
Like that's playing out right in front of our eyes. It's not going to be a change in policy at the Federal Reserve or a new president. Like that's what's playing out, and it will forever because
Bitcoin is doing that.
No, I disagree. I mean, it is and it isn't, because the reason why Bitcoin is doing that is because more people like you and I understand that that's what's happening. So therefore, more people want to hold those units that we can't make more of. And when there's more demand without changing supply, the value, the purchasing power of those Satoshis goes up, and it can buy you more houses. So really, I think that that's what's going to happen. And basically the rate of repricing is us understanding what Bitcoin is.
I agree. I don't think we disagree on Bitcoin's effect, right? Bitcoin is the fixing of it without the government or the Federal Reserve saying that we're going to fix it, right? Because when you hear Kevin Warsh talking about, inflation is something we can actually control. We can stop. It sounds good, but we know what comes with stopping the money printer or stopping, because people are going to have to get bailed out. We're going to bail them out. Well, that's more money printing. We're going to bail out this. We're going to bail out these institutions. So I think we agree on the fact that Bitcoin is the exit to already a drowning system, because Bitcoin is going to fix it. But what I'm saying is they're not going to. So people would still get hurt. But it's not, they're going to get hurt not because the government, not because Bitcoin wasn't around. They're going to get hurt because they're already being hurt regardless. It's just we know that the over leveraging and the debt will eventually explode anyways. There's an escape for it. But if they did choose, I think that it will be a great choice, but everything will be in ruins for a time being. So no matter what, it's like a two-edged sword. You're gonna get cut, you're gonna get cooked, and you're gonna lose a lot regardless. But whatever. I'm just thinking hypothetically, they're never gonna do it. But I'm just saying, like, if they did, it doesn't matter. People will get hurt regardless.
Unless they adopt Bitcoin.
I found
exactly.
There's like an interesting question in there, because there's two sides of it, as I told you guys before. There's this one side of it, like prices like just keep rising. If you see that, like just the median home price of houses sold in United States is just going up.
How much is it? Is it 403?
It's like 400 something thousand. So like 410, 430.
400
yeah,
right now is 403, 200 right now.
Yeah.
And this is USD.
And that's USD, yeah, exactly. And that's United States. And so if you think about that, like, of course, like everything is going up. So if your alternative is saving in dollars, you should rather save in houses. But if you look at the same thing, and that's the first one I found. I just had him on the podcast. If you think about the same thing here in Bitcoin, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't start from like 2012 or 2013 because Bitcoin was just still so small. But even from 2020, which is not that long ago, we had a home price of 45 Bitcoin, and now in 6 years, and now remember, we are absolutely down market, and now we are from 45
That's a
Bitcoin
crash.
to 6.7 Bitcoin.
That is you're right. I agree, man. You were right. It's from 45 to 6.7. That is a crash.
And it's like 6 years we had a downward market, and it's like Bitcoin was already there for a longer time. Like, of course, I get people when they say like, oh, it's unfair because Bitcoin is a young asset if you compare it from 2013 or 14. But see, from 2020, it's crazy to think about that. And if we just return to the old all-time high, we are at like 3 Bitcoin per median house. Because if we just need to go back to the all-time high that we already had. And so I think this is the crashing that also like you might have talked about, Lou. But then the more interesting question is like, does the US dollar always stay in our system? Yes or no? I think that's a really interesting question. And I don't know where you guys stay on that, because that will be then a question of like, will people be forced directly into Bitcoin or into somehow holding Bitcoin, or will they always hold some government issued token where maybe Bitcoin is somehow involved in that and they don't really have any claim on the real thing? So that's, I think, the pressing question for me, but
I think
it's collapsing.
I think a government issued token, people already don't trust the government. I think that would be hard to sell. Imagine Trump trying to sell you that. Like imagine a Democrat trying to sell you on the dollar's crashed and this is our bailout. We're going to start issuing tokens, and this is so I think by that time.
I mean, with the US dollar, I call that all government issued token. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah. Like everything that is like US dollar, euro, yen, I just call it. I mean, I know it's not a government issued token, but I call it like that.
Let me paint the scenario to Jor and Jerry and Robin. So let's just say because the dollar is technically it's not backed by anything. We know that, but it's backed by enforcement, right? So like the military industrial complex is backed by, we're going to sanction you. We're going to, you don't want to comply with us. You don't want to use our dollar. We'll find a way to replace you. We'll find a way to get you, pick you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and take you out of your home and put you in Brooklyn. Like that is the dollar. Like, I think a lot of people, you guys get it, but there's a lot of people, like when I explain dollars and I explain why things are happening the way they are, I just tell them that. I tell them it's just the dollar. Yeah, dollar is backed by, it's backed by the most powerful military the world's ever seen or known. And that's actually put to test right now, right? Like it really depends on how this goes with Iran, like that's put to the test. But let's just say the military isn't as powerful as we thought. Let's just say America's influence has been dwindling, but let's just say it dwindles all the way down. Let's just say, Putin and China, they become really powerful. Like we go from a unipolar to a multipolar world. The dollar is not going to survive that. In a multipolar world, the dollar it's not significant. And so I just think that if Bitcoin has survived what it survived already, and we're headed into a very dark path as far as the future of America's uncertainty is really depressing when you think about it. I just think that the government, seeing Bitcoin at 126,000, to George's point, that should be like a crazy alarm. Like that is like, yo, what is happening? How did this go? How is this? Why is everything falling? Why is everything bleeding to Bitcoin? What's going on? And there's a significant amount. There's not that much. So yeah, to your guys' point, I think that the dollar is only going to survive for as long as the military and the influence around the United States is. But I just don't know for how long we remain in a unipolar world where it's just one superpower, because that's what's keeping the United States as the world reserve currency, where we could print crazy amounts, we could have the debt that we want and still be respectable. At that point, I don't think that USD price would matter. It would matter how much Bitcoin you have.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, whether you have one, that is powerful. You have one Bitcoin, that's crazy. You have three, that is insane. So I think that I can see the four future. I can see like in 2035 or 2040, I could see that being a big thing. Like, yo, with one Bitcoin, I'm not telling you what it is USD. It's just one Bitcoin, bro. This shit is worth a lot. Like, you're going to want to take this. I want this home. I got one Bitcoin. You have no choice but to take it because everything bleeds to it over time. So what do you guys think that the credibility of Bitcoin would be USD wise if it hits 400,000 or 500,000? You don't think that people would be like, man, that's fucking crazy?
Then it'd be one Bitcoin equals one house.
That's fucking crazy.
But
Well, not by then. Not by then.
Well,
Because
maybe
the price in USD is still going to be going up.
True, but maybe not though too, because like my kind of theory on that is real estate is a very speculative asset right now. It's not being used for its utility. A lot of people are using it for its store of value. And so if people all of a sudden realize, this is the point that I'm talking about, is like, as people realize what Bitcoin is and how powerful it is, not only is, to protect your purchasing power, but for your sovereignty, they sell their real estate, put that into Bitcoin, because they don't have to worry about tenants calling at 3 a.m. and their sewer backed up anymore. And that capital flows from real estate into Bitcoin, which actually could mean half a Bitcoin for a house. If there's less demand for houses because people aren't using it as a store of value anymore, and more people want it, demand goes up, it actually could happen faster. But even if you look at that in a trending way, where it went from 500 Bitcoin for a house to 30 Bitcoin to 5 to 1, where does it keep going? It keeps going down. And you get to the point where you start doing objective math and you figure out like one house based on the number of houses on this planet isn't worth more than 1 million sats. Objectively. But that's what we're going to see play out here. And I guess we get to decide how fast that happens. But that's objective math that nobody can argue me on. It's like,
can you dive into that, George? Because some people don't know that, what you just said about the million
it's
sats.
very
Dive
simple calculation. Just take the total number of houses, take the 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis. What would it be, Jerry? It's houses divided by sats. So houses on top, 2 billion houses on the planet, divided by 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis equals approximately 1 million sats, average price of a house.
And they're building more too, by the way.
They're building more, and it's going to get cheaper to build. And we only take up like 5% of the globe in terms of where we're actually populated. As cities kind of disperse and fall to shit, people find new ways to live. Bitcoin mining, you can now set up shop in the middle of nowhere and still live fully off grid while mining Bitcoin, creating money, using the natural resources. Like it's all a big snowball that leads to probably one house costing 100,000 sats in X amount of years from now. Objectively, again, if Bitcoin succeeds, we can still mess this whole thing up. But just like mathematically, that's what's going to play out here.
Yeah. And like you guys were saying about the US dollar, and I think Lou, and I don't want to speak for Lou, but I think Lou was talking about the dollar outside of America in comparison to other countries. Lou, is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So inside the country, though, this is why I say, the United States of America needs to adopt Bitcoin, get the Bitcoin strategic reserve, get the situation going with Bitcoin, is that the US dollar, it is backed by the military, relatively speaking, in the broader, geographic market, geopolitical market. But in America, it's backed by the military, of course, but it's also backed by ignorance because people don't know what it is. And also confidence, because that's all they know. They're confident that money, when they go, and that's what money is. You ask 1,000 people on the street today, right now, what is money? And you pull out some cash or whatever, they're going to say, this is money. Cash is money, right? It's not money. We know that. Gold is money, real money, and Bitcoin is money. Okay. Dollars are currency. They're not money. That's number one. Number two, when you're talking about the US dollar and if it's going to crash and all this other stuff, again, they're going to keep printing and they're going to keep putting things in place. Again, I think they're going to do the stable coin situation and everything else. This is why with the Clarity Act, it's going to come with this stuff with the blockchain and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I truly believe, in order for us to get on a Bitcoin standard, because again, there's 5 levels to money, to real money. At first, like gold, it was it's like a little thing that they played with, and it was just a little thing, collectible. Second, it's a store of value. That's where Bitcoin is right now. Third is a medium of exchange. That's why I'm going to Steak and Shake today, to use it as a medium exchange. Then it's going to be a unit of account. And then it'll be the global reserve currency, the world asset, right? Because it is the best money. The best money always wins, right? This is the first time in probably history that the fiat currency, that is a quote unquote global reserve asset, doesn't mean shit. It's not real money. It's currency. And once we understand that and tell people, because we're Bitcoin educators and we're money educators and we're economic, because once you become a Bitcoiner, you're economic master, you're political master, you're geopolitical master, and all these things. We have to wake these people up. It's all about the education. We have to show these people that is not money what you think it is. And in your purse and in your screen, it's just numbers on the screen. When they can print those dollars, and again, it ain't just about printing it up in the Fed. They print at the bank too. So we have to show these people that and show them like, hey, you can spend money, you can use it as currency, but as far as savings, you can't save USD. It's about Bitcoin.
I think that's also very important to note, like, it's like you can use Bitcoin as a currency everywhere. Like there's more and more places. It's more and more adopted. But it's important to at least use it as a store of value. To at least use it as one of the properties of money. And I think this is the first one. I think it's already amazing that in this early stage of it being adopted as a store of value, so many already use it as money. But I think there's a long way to go for Bitcoin to be an actual mainstream currency. It will be. I personally think it will take a long time on that front, because we underestimate the massive network effect that fiat has and the stickiness. Think about Argentina for a moment. They went in the last, let's say, 50 years through 4 or 3 different currencies. Every 10 years, there's a 40-year-old guy somewhere in Argentina that lived through like 6 different currencies, and he's still using the new Argentina peso. And it's like, how are people willing to do that? And so that's just, it's unbelievable for me that fiat has a real network effect, and I think this isn't going as far away, as fast away as some Bitcoiner might think.
Let me add to your point about, you said that people were criticizing you when you said that Bitcoin was your savings account, that's how you use it. So
like because it's volatile, and they're like savings cannot be volatile.
Well, that I'm gonna be honest, right? Because I think Bitcoin is money, right? I think it's the best money right now. It's most likely not going to be used that way, whatever. But I use it as my savings account. I literally store all my value and all the dollars I make, I store it in there. I think that's great. Like I think that to me, like the Bitcoin transactions and using Bitcoin as money right now, we're just not there. Like Bitcoin is like, in my opinion, like a better version of gold. People store their wealth there. That's where all the boomers and everybody over older age, older generation, that's what they do. I think our generation, what we do is we just store our wealth in Bitcoin. And I think that that's the best, in my opinion. But, I think there's always conversations about, you're just hoarding it. No, I'm not. I'm just, but I also know that, this thing is gonna grow, and I kind of don't want to get rid of this yet. Dollar is not fully 100% done, right? If it was done, then then I could say, the medium of exchange is Bitcoin, but it's just not, and we'd be lying to ourselves if we said it was. Can you buy a home with Bitcoin? Yeah, but it's limited. Like there's not everybody's gonna take that. Like, you know what I mean? Like you want to buy a home outright, the homeowner has to be able to say, yes, I accept this, and boom, boom, so it's just not there yet. But as it starts to get there, best believe that that's where all my money is going.
I have a question I have a question for Jerry. How big is your bottle? Like I don't get, like I always thought that I have a big one, and mine seems like a small little thing next to yours. It's like
Jerry's
is it
heard
10
that
liters?
many times.
Robin, watch what you're saying here.
Yeah, man. Pause that whole situation.
Pause, bro, pause. Let's clarify.
I'm like, well, I don't know what he was talking about at first. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. That's
How many
big.
liters? That is 2 or 3?
Well, I don't go by liters. We go by ounces. I believe it's 128 ounces.
Holy.
So what it does, it has a time on it, right? So right here, I'm supposed to drink this much at this time, and I'm a little ahead of schedule, I guess. That's why I have to get up to relieve myself every once in a while.
Wait, is
Your
that
ancestors would be disappointed in you, Jerry.
is
What's
that
that?
Jerry on the thumbnail?
Yeah.
I guess.
Jerry
So.
made
Who the hell is that black guy, man? That ain't no Jerry, bro. There's a random black guy on the thumbnail, bro. What? I just popped up on my homepage. That's funny.
People were like, Rashad looks different today.
Yeah, I got a haircut, man. In the
It's
picture,
Biggie
yeah.
Smalls. Actually, I saw Sin in the chat talking about Biggie Smalls. I should have showed you guys this earlier. My Notorious shirt. What do you guys think about that?
Love
That's
it.
nice, bro.
And by the
Legendary.
way, on a side note, let me look at this real quick. We have 24 people in here. We got Lou, Robin, Jor, and we got 24 people on the BTC Mastermind channel.
Sad.
We need to share this video, guys.
Oh, that's good. Imagine 24 people in your room. It's a lot.
Yeah, but with
Imagine
you three on here,
you're sleeping with your wife and 24 people just show up. Man, that's a lot of people, bro.
yeah. I never looked at it that way. I looked at it.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. You know.
Comparing water bottles.
They're all
you wouldn't
drinking and
want Jerry
watching.
in that room with that size of a water bottle.
I don't even have that much space. Maximum like 5, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh,
24
good
people, that's
stuff,
a lot.
boys. This is what it's all about. What were we even talking about?
Ah,
We had
bro,
we had a good chat going there.
Sorry, I
Repricing.
disrupted that
You
completely.
guys want to bring up Jack? You guys want to bring up Jack Mahlers? What
Oh,
happened?
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Because we kind of been talking about, how early we are. And I'm sure most people watching the stream today hopped on here thinking that we were going to be debating BIP 110 or something like that. That's kind of the hot topic right now in Bitcoin. And I kind of had this thought this morning as I was listening to like a Twitter Spaces of BIP 110 versus the alternatives, core versus knots. And I was thinking to myself, like, if I went out on the street, if I went to the closest city here, Regina or Winnipeg, whatever it may be, and I asked 1,000 people what their stance is on BIP 110, how many people do you think would be able to share their thoughts on BIP 110 and whether they agree with it or not? I'd say between 0 and 1. So I think it's just a good reminder that, we like hanging out in our spaces and our YouTube chats and, paying attention our algorithms. But like the majority of people on this planet have absolutely no idea what's going on right now. And I think a lot of people get really depressed when the price goes down. But you just have to remember that it'd be different if everybody understood what Bitcoin was and they were ignoring it, but they just simply don't know what Bitcoin is. So there's a difference there. Price does not always equal value. And I think it's just an important reminder once in a while to remember just how freaking early we are in this whole thing. And the trend isn't going to slow down. Bitcoin will reprice everything, not just real estate. Every single thing on this planet will be repriced by Bitcoin. And Lou and I were actually having a conversation last week after the show, and we were talking about real estate and land and using our Bitcoin for that in the future. And as I was thinking about it after, I kind of told Lou, it doesn't really make sense to sell your Bitcoin, just take a loan against it. But as I thought about it, I'm like, the land would be the one thing that I would actually feel okay trading my Bitcoin for. Land and Bitcoin to me are the only things on this planet that no matter how many people want them, we can't make more of them. So to me, land and Bitcoin are 1-to-1. Even though I would say the land has properties that Bitcoin doesn't, like you can have running water, you can plant a garden, you got a nice view, but land doesn't have the features like being able to send it across the world in 5 minutes, or take a piece of it and send it to somebody, or hop on an airplane with it in your head and land and you have it. So
now you're specifically talking about land, not houses, right? Or just
correct.
both, or both.
This is land. But I mean, you could put a nice house on that land. The house I would finance or loan against my Bitcoin. But the land to me is like 1-to-1. And I think it's just important for people to understand, like, those are the two things that exist, that no matter how many people want to own them, we can't make more of them. So they will, in real terms, go up forever.
You talk about land.
I'm talking about land.
Yeah. Not
But here's
house.
the thing. Let me propose this. I think the difference between land and Bitcoin would be you can't teleport to this land.
Correct.
You can't, like I think Texas is like the perfect example. I've been reading all these things about Texas real estate and how it's collapsing because people didn't understand the extra costs and causes of floods or extra insurance, or the property taxes here are ridiculous. They're higher than I think New Jersey, but they're higher than New York's. And my mortgage went up. I think my mortgage it went from a certain number. It went from 3,900 to 4,200. Fuck it. Well, let's just fucking talk numbers. I don't care. But I thought, damn, like I could afford that fine because I'm actually living below my means. Now, that's not because I chose to. When I got the house, I wasn't creating as much value as I am now, right? I never, like when I got the house, I put my back against the wall to leave New York. I had 2 rooms. I mean, I had two apartments that are like rooms. The apartments in New York are literally just rooms. But I had an apartment for my mom and I had an apartment for me and my girl. I was paying for both of that. I was like, yo, I'll pay for stupid things. And let me just go get a house. So I go get this house. And, point of the story is they think they want to move somewhere because of the land. They think they want to move somewhere because it's more affordable. But man, this shit is full of surprises.
Yep.
Full of sneaky, and I'm talking about sneaky, like the insurance, the premiums, just the things, the houses that they're newly built. But then I literally a month into moving in, there had a leak. Like a leak. I gotta have this house for 30 years. Why is there a leak on month number 1? So to the point is, yes, there's gonna be more land to build more housing on. I don't think people realize emotionally what it's going to do to them when they realize that, yeah, they could have probably been paying this. The real estate is, once it gets filled up, you're paying the same thing. Like I would have been paying the same thing in New York. That to me it broke my heart when I found out that all these expenses with this particular situation I'm in, thinking that I'm about to save more by moving here. No, the fuck I'm not. I'm not saving more here, bro. I'm actually probably paying more. And I think that that's crazy. Now I have a newly built house, got more land. I'm in a cul-de-sac, sure, great situation. But that shit made me homesick, bro. It made me homesick. I was like, man, I left the family. I brought the family, but you leave your friends, you leave everything you've ever known. And I'm like, bro, they hit me with a $300 uprise, all these problems. I'm like, oh man. So I don't know if the land is a great thing. You buy your land or you buy a house and you go to a newly built house. But yeah, these red states are surprising, bro. They surprise you, bro.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's one of the main lessons I learned from Michael Saylor early on, was that Bitcoin is very similar to real estate, but it's also very different. And there's a lot of things that make Bitcoin far superior to real estate and land even. But as the comments are showing here, like there's things that you can do with land that you simply can't do with Bitcoin, like grow food on it or plant trees. Like there's things, both have their trade-offs. But I think the point that I was trying to make is that they're the only things that you can't make more of, no matter how many people want it. And somebody in the comment or in the chat said, didn't do your research. Well, even if Lou did did do his research, a new mayor comes in or a new law gets legislated and it changes instantly. And that's what I said earlier in the show, where like Bitcoin is a perfect battery, where you send a certain amount of sats to a wallet and you open that thing up in 100 years, that exact same amount of Satoshis is going to be in there. No matter how many storms went through or which politician was elected or which laws got passed, everything else will change around that. But your number of Satoshis will be the exact same in 50, 100 years from now. That's what makes Bitcoin.
Yeah. And by the way, to answer that comment, I got to say, you know, I didn't know property taxes will go up in the county that I'm in. So like, I didn't know that, right? Like the property taxes will go up a certain bit, but you know, I could afford it. What I'm saying is I can afford these things. I'm putting myself in other people's shoes that can't. I live below my means. Now, if I was living over the bills and I don't live paycheck to paycheck, I'm fine. And I'm blessed. Thank God. But I know there's people that are not that fortunate that, you know, put their back against the wall, took the family out, got a house, and now they're being hit with, they're being hit with different. I just think that to me, it sucks, is what I'm saying. It sucks. And life is full of surprises. You're never going to be prepared. And me, I prepare as much as I could, but I know that the way I treat my life is I go head first into every single thing. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I learned the lesson. Lessons happen. You know, I'm not a loser, bro. Like, you know, like lessons happen. It is what it is. We fucking figure it out. That is literally my life motto, is that we figure it out no matter what. By all means necessary, we get the job done. But you learn these lessons and you hope to pass them on so that way other people know, right? But yeah, there is great things you could do with land. There's a lot of great things you could do with Bitcoin. I'm in love with real estate now for some reason as I gotten older. You know, like I have literally my dream home is my screensaver. You know, it's a $4.5 million home, has a pool, has a tennis court, it has things that seem unattainable. If I'm being honest with you, they fucking seem like, bro, I gotta have $15 million reserves. I want to buy a cash. That's a dream. It seems unattainable, but that's the point, is that you are delusional. I am a delusional human being, bro. Like, and I dream with the best of them, and you know, and I think it's all coming full circle. I think one Bitcoin will be worth $4.5 million one day. I don't know if I'm 50 years old by the time that happens, but I'm sure that home will be bought with Bitcoin, and that's what I'm aiming for. So, but life will be full of surprises. To answer the point in the comments, I'm sure that person.
Yeah.
There's one small housekeeping thing because someone was trying to buy memberships. I haven't realized that, but we haven't turned on memberships on our channel. So we already have.
What's going on, Robin? Dude,
we already have that feature, but I'm slacking off. This will be
title,
turned on next time.
Thumbnail setup, title, thumbnail setup, bro. That is the goal of this channel. The title and the thumbnail is gonna get everybody in here. You got to do a crazy title next time. You got to do something like from my Jack Mallers quit. That could have been a topic. And you could do something like, holy shit, Bitcoin on the verge of 70K, but this can happen next. I don't know, something to make people, oh shit, let me go in there. You know, and then, you know, Jerry, a better thumbnail, Jerry.
Robin was making that right before the show.
I know. I saw. I never opened up my signal, but I saw.
Well, we're getting better. We're learning lessons here. That's what it's all about.
We're learning from the master. Lou, real quick, Sin Diesel in the comments said you can protest those property taxes in Texas, he said.
I got a letter. I got to figure it out, to be honest, but Lou's
he also said delusional.
Delusional.
I like that. I'm gonna start using that. Delusional. Maybe I make that into a shirt.
So can they do memberships now, Robin? Now that you turned it on?
No, there's a review process. So like you set it up, then YouTube looks at the memberships. If you, I don't know, selling something weird in the memberships or something like that, I don't know. And so like next video, it will be set up.
Okay, well,
or you can use that QR code beside Robin's head, like a couple of people have today already.
What is that QR code for?
That's for Satoshis.
Sats.
Oh, nice. To get sats or to send sats?
No, they send us sats.
We got
Oh,
a couple
nice.
thousand sats today.
Yeah,
right?
Lou, we're trying to get you some sats, man. I know you slacking a little bit. So
Nice.
It's a way for people to say thank you without anybody taking a cut of it or stopping it. So we
Lou,
get a couple
when
thousand
you go to
sat
my channel-
japs
oh, sorry, go ahead.
today.
How many?
Oh, you should read them. Like are people sending messages in there?
Yeah, one says thanks guys from our guy Cedar Sats, 1,000 sats. And we got another 1,000 sats, no name, but it's talking about a very contentious topic.
Yeah, more clickbait for the viewers. I agree. Hoofty Floofen. What a name.
VHF. Yeah.
VHF. There you go. That's better.
Hey, can we talk some Moon Boy talk real quick before we go? Just some quick Moon Boy talk or no?
Yeah, how long you got, Robin?
I gotta go soon, but we can.
Yeah,
talk
I got
more
about 5-10 minutes, man. We're good.
All right, I want to talk some Moon talk with Lou real quick. Lou, when we're going to be $1 one Satoshi parity? What year? Well, one Satoshi equals $1.
What, like when? I'll be honest with you, bro. I have no idea. You know, can I Moon Boy talk? I think 2029 we're gonna be in a place. You see how everybody now respects the 4-year cycle like no tomorrow. Like the biggest doomers of the 4-year cycle when it was in October and it was a 126. Like the ones that really wanted it to end, George probably one of them, are now the biggest cheerleaders of the 4-year cycle, because that means that Bitcoin will bottom and then go back up. I was one of those people. I was like, man, that 4-year cycle stuff, I can't. These people tripping, bro. Like they really think this shit is gonna go identically. Like Ben Cowan is bugging out, man. This dude is losing it. Turns out he was right. Now I'm a huge cheerleader that I really hope it goes. But I think that a lot of people are like, oh, diminishing returns, you know, Bitcoin's not. And Moon Boy, aka price cheerleader, aka permabull, aka realistic permabull, still permabull, means I would never store Bitcoin. But I would say that everybody is so bearish in their predictions now. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Oh, yeah, you know, we might go to 200. We might not even see an all-time high. You know, in 2029, we might be at 175 the most. And, you know, all of these things, according to the 4-year cycle. I think that now that everybody, because psychologically everybody turns retarded when it comes to Bitcoin and everything, I would say because of that, I think by 2029, you know, when we're supposed to a bottom year or a top year, which will be 2029, if I'm not mistaken, according to the 4-year cycles, if it's still there, bro, we could see Bitcoin at a price where everybody's not going to expect it. I think everybody's expecting 175 above, you know, 200, whatever. I think 300 is in the play. I think 350. I think it'll be a retarded number. I think a lot of people are going to try to follow the 4-year cycle. I'm not going to say it's going to break, but I just think that because everybody now expects the 4-year cycle, it'll be the perfect time for the 4-year cycle to break. Like, I think everybody's like, oh, October of 2029, we're going to bottom. I mean, we're gonna blow off top and then, you know, begin the bear market, begin the bear trend. What if we don't? Now that everybody respects it so much. So what do you guys think, man? Like everybody respects the 4-year cycle. I've never seen the way people respect the 4-year cycle now is wild, but everybody thinks now that it's coming. So I think now would be the perfect time for the 4-year cycle to just break. We go straight to $7 trillion market cap, $10 trillion market cap, all the way from a $1.3 trillion market cap. It will be retarded. It will be crazy. I know, but who knows?
It'll happen eventually. That's the thing. And I think that Forrest made a good point a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it was on this show or the Maple Bitcoin show, but really resonated with me because I was somebody who didn't think that we could get back down to this point. And I'm also somebody who is hoping it goes lower, but also I'm a realist in the sense of like, every time it's done this in history, it's always exploded right after this happened. So you can't really be both. But at the same time, I think that the point that Forrest made, which I agree with, is like the 4-year cycles are always are a thing until they're not. And I think that's an important point for people to understand, is they are a thing until they're not one day, because at some point this cycle is going to break. At some point, there's going to be more people who want to buy Bitcoin than want to sell Bitcoin. And at that point, nobody's going to give a shit what month it is. So it's going to break to the upside at some point. And to me, I wasn't somebody who was going to risk that happening this cycle. So I didn't try to time Bitcoin.
Look at the comment. 200K if we're lucky in 2029. That tells me we're going much higher. People have put their, and I'm seeing this everywhere. This is literally the trend. I see it all over X. I see it all over YouTube comments when I watch these YouTube videos. And I think because people think that we are going to be lucky, that the attitude is, man, we'll be lucky if we ever go back to all-time high.
Yeah.
I think because of that, I think that to me tells me otherwise. It tells me, oh, this is it. This could be the moment where everybody, even the biggest permables that call for 1 million, are kind of giving up. They're like, fuck it. This shit is this ain't gonna 3x no more. This ain't gonna 8x no more. This ain't gonna 10x no more. And then boom, they start. The way I see it is, it goes back to all time high. It goes back to 126, 200. It passes over it. So there'll be a lot of people cashing out. There are a lot of people exiting the market. And we'll probably get a couple dips between that time, but then we'll get another leg up and another leg up and another leg up. And 2029 comes and we'll be at a price where everybody kind of gave up, and it's still going. And now it's still going. 2030 on a bear, on a bear market year, usually in the midterm year, it's still going. So I don't know, man. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. I've been wrong before and everything in life, but I'm just saying it does seem like this will be the perfect time psychologically.
I think it's normal cycle behavior. So like when we are crashing through all-time highs and we're going higher and higher and higher, people are calling for 500K, a million, 10 million, and as high as possible. And when we're going lower and we're like 30% down, 40% down, 50% down, this is the moment where people are like, we're not getting up, like we're crashing down, we're going further down. So it's like, I don't know, but I've seen it now since about 6 years, and it's always like that. People remember the last like 2 weeks to 2 months, and depending if the last 2 weeks to 2 months were up or down, they are either bullish or bearish. I have people in my comment section today that hate on Bitcoin, are completely dissatisfied with Bitcoin, but they have this purple heart on them. And I remember them because I liked all of their comments just like 8-9 months ago, because they were super bullish on Bitcoin. They were super happy about Bitcoin because it was going up. And so I think the reality is just that people are people, and they are emotional, and they have their feelings. And when Bitcoin is going up, we're doing good. I think I mentioned at the beginning. How do you guys feel? You're feeling 10% smarter, 10% happier today because the price is going up 10%? I think a lot of people have still a very big emotional connection to Bitcoin when it goes up and down, and so they're depressed. They don't like it, and all of those people they will scream, "Bitcoin is going to 1 million" once we reach like 200K, 300K, we're all-time high.
That's what I'm saying to you is a lot of people that, like, when Bitcoin starts to go up and it starts to get to over 100, yeah, there's going to be a lot of bullish people. That's the way markets work. But I think that I'm seeing a trend of they don't have a certain expectation anymore because they got crushed in 2025, right? In the top year, they got crushed because they thought it was going, to a certain level. They saw it at 126. So now they thought, they think they thought it was going to keep going higher, and they got crushed. So now their expectations are like, yeah, we want it to go, but it's like when it goes above a certain number, they're like, they start getting nervous. And I think that that's what I mean. But
I think it's worth talking about here because there's a couple of comments that I see in the chat. One from Craw says, if you're ranting about the price, you still don't get it. Couldn't agree more. And I think that most people still put a lot of, of their time and energy into the US dollar price of this. I agree that it's irrelevant. And that's what I was going to kind of say here is like Lou mentioned that at some point we'll see a Bitcoin being worth $4.5 million. But as Sin is talking about in the chat here, it's like you can't really compare these two things. I made a tweet the other day saying comparing Bitcoin to US dollars is like comparing farmland to breaths of air, because one is fixed and one is unlimited forever. And we don't know what the other side of the equation is going to do. So it's like, yeah, it might be $4.5 million, but how does it matter if that dollar buys, one loaf of bread is $1,000? So I think a good measurement is like how long until the price of Bitcoin is one house, the average cost of one house. Like that's the conversation that I think we should be having, because we have no idea how many US dollars there are today and how many there's going to be in 10 years from now. It's an impossible prediction to make, because one of the parts of the equation here, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it's going to be. So if you're thinking in terms of like maybe houses or ounces of gold or something that can be created into infinity, that's a much more realistic comparison that you can actually make a prediction off of. So if we're talking houses, like I could see one Bitcoin being the cost of a house in a couple of years from now, because again, just go back to the basic mathematics here and economics of supply and demand.
Luxury house.
Yes. Great.
Luxury, luxury house.
That's
exactly.
my measurement, which today in USD prices would be 4.5 million, which will be like a 10,000 square foot home where you could bring the family, friends, and it'll be amazing. I think that's what I'm saying is more like, yeah, USD price right now is 4.5, but if we measure it realistically in homes, will one Bitcoin cause that luxurious New York or California home where, one Bitcoin is worth that? I think, wow, that would be unbelievable. So, which could be a little delusional, but yeah.
Yeah. Great points, guys. I had Robin pull this up. I show this on my show every day. This is the visual equivalent of the Bitcoin issuance. And Jor made a great point. We're measuring something. We're measuring things and things that we don't even know how many there are. We don't know how many dollars there are. Right here shows you the entire Bitcoin Bitcoin issuance supply chain right here. 2 quadrillion, 99 trillion, 999 billion, 997 million, 690,000 sats. That's the entire monetary system. So every time
everyone's going to have that number memorized in a couple decades from now. Everyone's going to know that number.
You might as well, like you say, you might as well tattoo this, right? So what happened is we have 33 epochs. In each epoch, there's 210,000 blocks in each one. Long story short, when the demand was zero, Satoshi Nakamoto flooded the supply of Satoshis, half of the sats, right? And you keep going forward, and right here, where we're at now, we're at epoch 5, right around here, and we're halfway through the quote-unquote halving, right? So we know that. But we have 33 more. We have 33 epochs, 27 and a half epochs to go into the year 2140. This is the supply. This is why I tell people we need to teach people about Bitcoin and what this thing really is. Because again, 95.5% of all Bitcoin have been issued. So when I asked Lou, hey man, what do you think about sat dollar, parity or whatever? Me and Jor are on the same page with this. We don't think Bitcoin is going to start really popping off till about $1 million per Bitcoin, aka 1 cent, 1 sat parity, right? And people, this system right here that you guys see, you're seeing this before everybody. It's just like the early internet when nobody knew what it was. Nobody really understands what the internet is, and most people are not going to understand what Bitcoin is. But one thing they're going to know is, damn, my purchasing power keeps going up with this. Damn, things are getting cheaper when I have this. So when you compare this fixed supply system versus this broken system, it's complete opposites. And this is why it starts with the education. We need to tell people what this is. And again, I hear what Homeboy was saying about the prices and everything, where we're looking at prices and stuff like that. I get that. But again, it's all about the sats per dollar right here. And, what the new system is. And we got to know this stuff, guys. We got to know it like the back of your hand, know your numbers so we can teach everybody else as well. Did Robin leave?
Yeah. He said he had to hop off. I thought this was good in the comments. Where's this comment at? Okay, look up real estate. So J Dub says, look up real estate in El Salvador. Properties for sale are about 1 Bitcoin or 0.7. And then Alan says, who wants to live in El Salvador though? I think that's the conversation about real
Yeah.
estate that I was talking about. It's like, but yeah, sure, but who wants to live there though? Right. And so I think that's why cities become populated or whatever. But that's another conversation. I'm just saying that's funny. I think I'm not the only one that feels that way.
For
Yeah, it's
sure.
important. I mean, I think people in the US kind of, I wouldn't say you guys live in a bubble, but like you think that and I'm not saying Jerry and Lou think this. I'm saying like most Americans, they see like the price of Bitcoin is $63,000 or $64,000, but there's no price of Bitcoin. That's the exchange rate between Bitcoin and the US dollar. In Canada here, it's like $90,000 Bitcoin. In Japan, it's like $1 bazillion per Bitcoin. So it's just an exchange rate between these different currencies. And yeah, real estate is more desirable in certain parts of the world. Farmland's more desirable than bushland. Like all this stuff, we're just kind of talking in averages here, though, I think. And it's important for people to understand that, I think, anyways.
Yeah, I agree.
Couple shout outs here before we wrap up, boys. We got another zap, 1,650 sats from our guy, Mark, 65 sats. He said late because of meetings today, but still sent in some support for the boys. And then we also got 2,500 sats at the exchange rate of 66,000 US dollars, $1,500 per $1. So thank you to the supporters of the show today. There it is right there. There's the different prices. And based on that, it looks like the Swiss franc has the strongest, British pound. British pound has the strongest currency, which is $50,000 Bitcoin. The Swiss franc is 57,000 per Bitcoin. And then the euro, and then the US dollar. Wow, that's actually surprising to me that the US dollar's the fourth strongest currency. But
and the crazy part about that is we always measure it in US dollars, and we're thinking about it in US dollars again. The 2.1 quadrillion Satoshis that we have, that's all the dollars in the world, all the fiat currencies in the world, trying to chase that little amount of sats.
Look at it in the Canadian dollars, 89,000.
The Canadian peso, $90,000 Bitcoin here. And then
Mexican peso, 1.2 million. My God.
What was the other one? What was Japan's?
Oh, Kuwait, strong.
Oh, those
9 million, bro. What?
I guess it would also depend on how many units of those currencies exist.
A lot.
Yeah, so we're already at $1 million Bitcoin. Look at the Thai baht, 2 million. Philippine peso, 3.6 million. We're already at $1 million Bitcoin.
Weaker currencies have huge numbers. No shit.
Look at the dong. The dong's $1 trillion Bitcoin right now, or 1 trillion dong Bitcoin, I should say.
Argentina, trash.
Oh my God! Look at the Irans. Wow.
Yeah, Iran blew up during the war, bro. They're cooked. The real is cooked, bro. What is that? 3.8 trillion? What is that?
Something plus.
Yeah,
something
that's
crazy.
trillion. 3.8 trillion.
They're still trying to collect Bitcoin at the Strait.
George looking at dongs.
Pause, bro.
Okay, boys. Any last thoughts, or should we wrap?
Hey, yo. That boy said, look at that dog right there, man. Hey, man.
Chat's liking it. The chat's liking it.
I didn't even catch on to that. I just read the comment. That made me laugh.
But there it is right there, guys. 2.1. So we looked at all the fake money, right? We looked at a whole list of fake money. Lou, you're a fool. We looked at the fake money, and that's the real money right here. Yeah. Everything. I want you guys to think about this. Every time you have sats in cold storage, not on Coinbase and all that, when you buy your sats and put away, you are owning a piece of the pie, of the finite pie. And honestly, and Jordan knows this, all the money in Bitcoin is only going to go down because people lose their coins, they die, So the amount is going down. Meanwhile, your percentage of the money supply you own is going up. If somebody gives Lou $1 million right now, that's pocket change for Lou. If I give him $1 million right now,
I need that.
if I give Lou $1 million right now and I give him 1 million sats, I said, all right, Lou, because he's young, sit on both of these for 40 years. I guarantee the 1 million sats will be worth more than the $1 million in 40 years because it's fixed. Again, when you have $1 million, what percentage of the money supply do you own? You have no idea. You don't know what they printed yesterday, today. It's crazy, man. What you think about
you'll own less tomorrow.
Exactly.
Your ownership will go down tomorrow.
It goes down literally. Look at this, guys. By the second. Look how fast this thing is going up. By the second, your dollars, they're spending your money on stuff you ain't voting for. This ain't a democracy. You didn't vote on none of this. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good, man.
You're right. This is where Jerry cooks. That's why I be seeing him cook on his show.
Don't get me started on this. This right here, this is what I'm saying. We got to educate people on this. Again, I will give Trump credit on this real quick, right? Trump has, he's made our U.S. federal tax revenue, our revenue go up, but the spending, he can't stop that. It's already built in the cookies. So again, if you make $56,000 a year, this is what the United States of America is doing, making $5.6 trillion. If you made $56,000 a year and you spent $72,000, you're in the hole. You can't print money. You're going to go to jail if you print money. You can borrow it, but that's the problem, guys.
You can legally
create more
print money
value
with,
and get more Bitcoin.
Yeah, you can legally print money with Bitcoin miner,
or legally like Lou. Make all that money, get them sats.
Yeah,
Ain't that something, Lou? You get your paychecks coming in, the price goes up today. Ain't that something?
I know it hurts, man, because and I have to wait again. So let's just say I go all in now. Boom, boom, boom. 66, 65, and then goes to 60, and then I gotta wait till the 21st, and then when the 21st comes, back up it goes. You
ain't got to wait though, bro. I told you what to do. All right, good show, boys.
Good show, fellas. Lou, we
hey,
gotta get a new hat.
Shout out to everybody. Hey, look, we're gonna try to get more viewers in here. Next on the next one we do, gotta do the title and thumbnail. Gotta be, you know what I mean.
Next show we're gonna come proper.
So from 30 we gotta go to 100. From 100 we gotta go to 200, and then
and have them all in a room looking at your wife with a big bottle of water.
Yep, 25 people in the room, bro. Crazy.
We're going to be doing the next show. I don't know if it's going to be on Thursday or Tuesday next week, but the next show is going to be only on the Mastermind. So if you're watching this on anybody else's channel, mine, Jerry's, Robin's, Forrest's, it's going to be only on this Mastermind next week. We're going to have a proper thumbnail. All the boys are going to be on there. We're going to have a good title. So you get yourself here early, settle in, get yourself a seat, because there's only so many available.
Make sure
only 21 million seats.
Can you share my screen one more time?
Yeah.
Make sure you guys subscribe. If all our Bitcoiners, if you want some political news, make sure you subscribe to Lou Valentino, LV Nation.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah. Subscribe, donate. So I can buy more Bitcoin, man, with your money.
And make sure you head over to George's channel. And where we at here? George, where you at? I got you.
Spaceman said wallet check. Okay, let me check the Wally. Spaceman and his loyal dog sent in 1,000 sats. Look at that. Good work, guys, from Spaceman.
Thank you, Spaceman. Appreciate it.
And that 2,500 had no comment with it, but I'm pretty sure based on who I've seen in the chat today, I'm pretty sure that was our guy, Ian. Yes. So I could be wrong about that, but that's just an assumption based on historical data. Look at this. Pandemonium says, never knew about the BTC Mastermind, was watching on the Forest one. So there you go. Make sure you check it out. And I would suggest, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but click the notifications. So then next Tuesday, this time, you're not scrambling to find where we are. You'll have a nice notification letting you know where we are. So
I think we're coming on Thursday, aren't we?
I don't know. No one knows. Well,
Lou says we're coming on Thursday. He demanded it behind the scenes. I was like, all right, Lou, what damn?
Hey, Thursday's a good day, man.
Let's do it, man.
Every day is a good day.
Twice a week. Then for the people that, some of us can't show up, we'll just do Tuesdays, Thursdays.
Okay, boys, I got to wrap because last week it was the three of us and Brandon, I think, and we went off the rails for an hour after the show. So we got to cut things off quick. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, everybody in the chat, and big shout out to the people who sent in some sass today. We love you all, and we'll see you this time next week or earlier. Adios.